We're in the fourth week of Advent, and this is Tuesday's devotional for that week. And the object that we're thinking about this week is tree. And this is a reading from Job 14, verse 7. For there's a hope for a tree if it is cut down, that it will sprout again, and that its shoots will not cease. I learned a new word the other day, coppicing. I was watching a documentary that featured ancient wooden bowls crafted from tree stumps, trees that had been coppiced. Curious as to what the term meant, I went to Google, where Wikipedia informed me that coppicing is a traditional method of woodland management which exploits the capacity of many species of tree to put out new shoots from their stump or roots if cut down. In a coppiced wood, which is called a copse, young tree stems are repeatedly cut down to near ground level, resulting in a stool. The entry went on to say that forests maintained in this way keep trees at a juvenile stage so that they never die of old age. Therefore, ironically, they often reach immense ages. Perhaps Job knew this method of woodland management as he contrasted human finitude with trees' immortality, since God has appointed bounds that they cannot pass. Our days are literally numbered, but there is hope for the tree, cut to the stump in order that exponential new growth will come. And as it does, wildlife flourishes all around it. What do we make of this stark difference between trees and human beings? Job, of course, has reasons to lament finitude, death, and the real limits of our power and longevity. But there is more to his comparison than despair. Is there, in fact, hope in knowing that our days on earth will not last forever? One night after a long day, a grief-infused day, a day when I had run up against the brick wall of my inability to intervene on behalf of my loved one in a way that I felt useful, I drove home tired and defeated. As I made my way on a familiar highway, it appeared to my right so bright that for a disorienting moment, I thought I saw the sun setting, even though it was well after dark. As I rounded a corner, there appeared a huge, unbelievably bright, full moon. So luminous was the moon and so cloudless the sky, day and night seemed to strangely merge. The trees along the highway were no longer outlines, but visible in detail against the horizon. One or two cars crossed my path, but otherwise I felt alone, a dot on the landscape of creation. I felt an unmistakable sense of God's presence. In that moment, rather than feeling sad at my smallness, I felt hope. Hope in the trees, in the moon, in the vastness that existed well before me and would persist long after my determined days ended. Is this how Job felt? Did he, in all that he had lived through and lost, find comfort in the grandeur and relentlessness of God's good universe? Out of felled trees come shoots that do not cease. From that copse that appears dead and gone comes life that nurtures more life that never ends. Knowing our finitude and creation's ability to be reborn helps us not only count our days, but treasure them. Reminds us that we are precious in God's sight. Every hair on our heads is counted, and yet we are a minuscule part of God's beloved world. The felled tree that brings forth new shoots reminds us too, not to give in to hopelessness, because it may be that not only trees experience coppicing, but we do as well. As those who follow a Savior who spent his days working with the wood from felled trees, we can trust that within our losses and limits, God is at work, crafting something beautiful, knowing that coppicing makes of us and the landscapes around us new creations.